Raphael Varane is very close to joining Manchester United after the Red Devils offered a 5-year contract worth £12 million per season. Real Madrid could be forced into accepting an offer of €50 million plus add-ons, as Raphael Varane is closer to signing for Manchester United than renewing his contract at the Bernabeu. This all comes from Spanish football expert Jorge Calabrese. Hit that like and that share button. Here we go. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. I hope you're all doing wonderfully well this evening. I truly hope you are. Good evening, Adrian. Good evening, Ben. Good evening, Sharek. We're taking your calls this evening. We're talking about Raphael Varane. Interesting news to come out from Spanish football expert Jorge Calabrese this evening, that Raphael Varane, in his words, is very close to joining Manchester United. A 5-year deal worth €12 million per season has been offered. He believes that Real Madrid could be forced into accepting a bid of around £50 million plus add-ons that has been made by Manchester United, with Varane currently closer to leaving than staying. This is what he believes to be the truth. This is what he has claimed, and this is what he has stated. I want your views and your opinions on this. It kind of contradicts a lot of other things that have been said in the last 24 hours about this taking a week or 2 weeks to decide, him waiting for a big offer to come in from Real Madrid. But being Madrid-based, being a Spanish football expert, maybe, just maybe, he has a little bit more insight into what's going on than, of course, we do here in the United Kingdom and with Britain. But according to Jorge Calabrese, he is very close to joining Manchester United, and it sounds to him as though Real Madrid are becoming almost accustomed to the idea of him going and of him leaving. All that and much, much more to come on the Football Terrace this evening, but please make sure that like button has been smashed. Please make sure you've shared this stream on your social media platforms as well. Lots of people seemingly enjoying. We're still having people leave the new WhatsApp group that's been created for notifications. I can't understand your logic. Maybe I don't know what it is there. iTest in the house here says, no more excuses for Ollie. I need the PL or Champions League. Like, I still think context is going to be important, iTest, but I agree with you to an extent. There are less excuses for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. If he brings in these players, his team has to improve tenfold on last season. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. It has to. I want to gauge your views here. Sorry, it's euros. There's 50 million euros plus add-ons and 12 million euros salary is how it's been reported at this moment in time, which is a lot less than some of the British press claimed a few weeks ago, where they said Raphael Varane was demanding £400,000 per week. 12 million euros a year is sort of looking at what, 200, 210, 220? That's just quick math on top of my head with an exchange rate per week there. So very doable numbers, I would say, for Manchester United Football Club. There's no doubt about it. Good evening, Adrian. Hope you're well. Ben here says, Man United and Real Madrid have agreed a €55 million deal for Raphael Varane. It is all done. Raphael Varane will be a United defender, according to the Grazia dello Sport. I haven't seen that. I'll give that a little search and hear what they're saying. I haven't seen that news report there, Ben. Send me a link so I can go and have a read of that. The problem is there's so much news that gets shared now across socials. You're never quite too sure, like, what's not what's real. Hang on a minute. Someone just sent it to me just as we speak. Oh, wow. Yeah, I've just seen that come out here. Same one. Man United have had a bid accepted according to this. I mean, that's an interesting turn of events as well. If indeed that is to be true there, Ben, I've just seen that as well. That news coming out. Have they accepted the bid? I mean, interestingly, a couple of hours ago, it was Jorge Calabrese says 50 million euros plus add-ons. You've now got the Gracia dello Sport saying it's 55 million. It could all come from the same source. Jorge, who does he work for here? This is what's always important to check who he works for. Does Jorge work for them? No, well, not according to I always check the profile of these journalists because sometimes the journalist can tweet it and then the outlet can print it and it appears to be two different sources when indeed it's coming from the same person. But there's two claims now tonight that's done. I mean, that's an even bigger claim. That's an even bigger claim saying that the deal is done. Wow, that's an interesting one. That is interesting indeed to see whether that one turns out to be true. Sharek says, let's go. He's in a good mood about that one indeed. Sharek here says, apparently Grazia isn't as reliable, but all signs are pointing to Varane signing. My problem is I don't really understand. When it comes to the continent, it's hard to work out who is and who isn't. Like, I don't understand in Spain who the Sun newspaper is, who the Metro is, who the Times are. Or do you get what I mean? So it's a very difficult one there. There's no doubt. But it's even hard to tell by lack of followers. There's an account I saw tweet a story the other day and everyone told me they're trash. They have 1.9 million followers on Twitter alone. I thought, really? Again, I just don't know. But that's the news that's come out today. Ginger Fury says, all right, Terry, how are you doing? I think all this news is good, should mean things are moving along. Our recruitment is much better. I think what's interesting, Ginger Fury, the point you pull on there is very, very important, though. Very, very important point you make there. Because I want to make sure I say this in the right way. I know that Sergio Ramos led us down the garden path in the past. However, we were not getting news that bids had been accepted. We were not getting news that personal terms were agreed or at pre-agreement stage. The level of news that we're getting about this from Spain, from England, Portugal, Italy, France, it just feels different. It just feels different indeed. You're spot on when it comes down to that. Few people are asking for updates on Haaland. There is simply no update on the Haaland situation as of now. Fabrizio said about an hour ago on Twitch, no bids have been made yet, so I don't know about that. Listen, I know a lot of people trust Fabrizio very, very much indeed. A few people on this stream are suggesting that the Gracita dello Sport isn't overly reliable. I'll take your word for it. I trust Fabrizio Romano. Does he know everything about every deal at every moment that's going on? Potentially not. But yeah, we'll trust that as it were. That wasn't the reason we went live, to be fair. That's just a different story that's come out since, a different thing that's been put out there. But we're talking about what Jorge Calabrese said, that believes it is very close to happening indeed. Someone here says the Muppeteers have put an update out. Okay, I'll go and take a look at that and see what's being said. I don't always know. It's hard. It's very hard for me sometimes when you guys just shout out who's saying what. It's easier if I get a link. I can click a link and it brings it up on my screen, as opposed to me having to share. Although I am part of the Muppeteers Discord server. Really good group they are over there. Have they tweeted anything? I haven't seen them tweet anything. But there we go. So I'm not going to go start searching through Discord now while I'm talking to you guys. Comment here says, our next manager will be Zidane. You heard it here first, is what Zoatang TV has got to say. Let's keep going through some of these comments. We are going to go to your calls as well. I know people are chomping at the bit to come on and say it. Okay, that makes sense. Terry, I've backed Ollie this whole time. I trust him. We seem to be finishing the team now, and it's looking good. Hendo, AWB, Maguire, Varane, Shaw, Pogba, Camavinga, Bruno, Sanchez, Cavani, and Arashi with a bench stronger. I mean, when you read that team out like that, it's drippy. A team like that is absolutely drippy. There is no doubt about it whatsoever. Kevin says, Terry, should we try and sign Messi? No. Messi, for me, is a waste of money for Man United. And I know people are going to say, why? One, I just think, what's he going to want? About 700, 800 grand a week? We're going to get a couple of good years out of him. I just would rather invest that money elsewhere in the team for the medium to long term. A bit like Cristiano Ronaldo returning. Now, I know Ronaldo's further at the end of his career than Messi, but I just wouldn't. It sounds like a really weird thing to say. I just wouldn't want to sign Lionel Messi now in 2021. The amount of money it's going to cost to bring him. Remember, he's a free agent right now. So people think, oh, you get him for free. Oh, do you realize the size of the signing on fee that you have to bring him in for? You're probably talking about a 50, 60, 70 million pound signing on fee and then £700,000 or £800,000 a week in salary. It's gargantuan investment. He'll probably want a 3 to 4 year deal, even at the age that he's at now. For me, I'd just say no to it at this point in his career. I'd have loved it a while back, but now definitely I would be saying no. We're going to go to some of your calls. There are some other updates I want to touch on as well. Some from Fabrizio this evening and others that are circulating. Please super chat us in any questions or any stories that you would like us to talk about. That we would do our absolute best to do that. Make sure you're following our Twitch account as well and that you sign up to our brand new WhatsApp group so we can send you all the notifications as and when we go live. And again, very randomly, 4 people have left that group since we've gone live. You know why you're joining it, right? It literally says it's for YouTube notifications. That's all you're going to get in there. I don't get why you join and leave. It's actually made me chuckle all day. iTest thinks Messi is worth it. Maybe. Let's see what everyone's got to say on it. First caller of the night, we're going to get on Aaron Lloyd. Aaron Lloyd is with us. Aaron, welcome to the Football Terrace. Please let us know who it is you support and what it is you're here to say.
Yeah. Hey, Derry. How's it going?
I'm very good, thank you. Who do you support, buddy?
I support Manchester United.
And what do you make of this news this evening that Raphael Varane is very close to joining Manchester United? Give me your thoughts and feelings on that, buddy.
Well, I think the sound is, the sounds from the sources are good, but we haven't heard from like Taiwan or Thai 2 sources. So I think we are just waiting for like more stronger updates from Fabrizio before I can say like, or before we all can say like it's going to happen or not. But I like the sound of it. Looks like it's going to happen. Let's hope it does in the coming weeks or so.
Yeah, I mean, there's very much hope that it happens in the coming weeks and that it gets done. And, you know, what I find really interesting this summer more than any other when it comes to the whole tiering thing of journalists is like, there's almost this kind of element where people are, what's happened here in the tennis? I'm very sorry. What's happened in the tennis, everyone? I'm very sorry because she was winning and now she's waving, but the game, is it the end of the night or something? Have they called an end to the night? Or is she injured? I'm really confused. What's happening in the tennis, people? What's happening in the tennis? I don't know what's happening in the tennis. And I can't listen to it because of copyright. Listen, very much thank you for your call, mate. And thank you for coming on the terrace. I really appreciate that, buddy. Top man. The tier one kind of thing is this. I've heard some people say I don't want to hear about transfer news until I hear it from a tier one. And then others hear things from tier ones and say, well, they're no good because they're tapping merchants. And I'm so confused about what people want. Harold here says tenfold. How can he be better by a tenfold? Man City, Chelsea, and Liverpool still better squads. They will be in the same comps as Man United, but I agree, need to challenge. Okay, I hear what you're saying there. Is anyone giving me an update on the tennis? Oh, she's injured. So does our girl go through by default? Or is it our girl that's injured? You just said she's injured. Oh, no. Oh, our girl's injured. Oh, that's a shame. I mean, she was losing. And she was doing so well. Oh, that's a shame. But you know what? She looks a player. She looks an absolute player in the making. 18 years of age, making her debut, got to the 3rd round. Stay fit, stay dedicated, and you can go far, young lady. Oh, I feel bad for her. Oh, yes, it's retired. It actually says that up there now. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. That's a shame. It really is a shame. Keep hitting that like and share button this evening. Let's get this past 500 likes while we're live on the air. I want to do a few more calls before we touch on other stories. Ben Matthews, I need you to nod your head. Are you over the age of 18, Ben? You're saying you're over 18. All right, I'm going to come to you next then. What are you saying, buddy?
It's a complicated story at the moment, isn't it, with Varane? I'm very happy that there is a fee going in to get this lad. This player is a good player. I just can't wait for him to play. The money, hopefully it gets accepted, and I hope he comes to United because he will fall in love with the club when he joins, and hopefully he will love it.
Yeah, I hope he does as well. Listen, Ben, great call, mate. Top man. And we'll speak to you again soon. Just getting a little bit of feedback on there. Thanks for calling in, Ben, and having your say. I think he'd absolutely fall in love with a club. Who wouldn't? This is Manchester United. Next on the show, we've got Josh coming on. Josh is an Arsenal fan. What are you here to say, Josh?
Yo, we're saying people. Okay, one thing straight, yeah. I am just kind of annoyed because Aston Villa will not leave Arsenal alone. I swear to God, why they're always on to us? Like, oh, you make me sick. And why are Chelsea trying to get Ben White? Like, allow it? Oh God.
Do you think Chelsea are actually trying to sign Ben White? Do you think
No,
that's
we're not going to get him.
going on?
No, we're not going to get him. There's no way in hell they're getting him because Arsenal have already what's it? They've already done the bid and all that. So Ben White just needs to stand the thing in it, and he's asked for it. So I don't know why Chelsea are acting like they're gonna get Ben White when they're really not. And then Aston Villa, bruv, like they're not getting Smith Rowe. Why are they bidding? They're not like that. Like we're not gonna get him. We're not gonna sell one of our best youngsters. Like we're just not gonna do it.
I have to say, Josh, you do sound a little bit rattled.
Oh God, no, I'm not.
You're saying all these things. You're sort of saying, "Oh, you know what? We're not going to sell our best player. Chelsea are not getting Ben White. We've done all the deal. He's just got to sign the thing." But you sound like you're very scared, sir. You sound like you are worried.
Can't lie. I am. Can't lie.
Yeah, you are. I think I can hear it in the voice. Honestly, Bob, you sound shook.
Yeah, I am. Honestly, if Arsenal sell Smith Rowe, I'm not supporting that club again. I will never support Arsenal again. If we sell Smith Rowe, I'm done with Arsenal. Like, mate. Honestly.
You're hilarious, bro. You're absolutely hilarious. Top. Listen, thanks for calling in and having your say.
Man.
Josh just come onto a United stream and he's panicking about Chelsea. Chelsea viewers, what do you make of that? A few people tell me the WhatsApp group is full. Someone told me earlier you can only have like a maximum 250 in a WhatsApp group. I didn't know that. I'd never created one of them before. Someone's referred me to something, though, called a Telegram where I can have like 200,000 people in it. So maybe we'll go and set that up and start again. I'll keep you guys posted on that one, though. We'll keep you guys posted on that. Next on the terrace is going to be, oh my DZ. Welcome back to the terrace, mate. Varane moving closer, according to Spanish journalists this evening. Give me your thoughts.
First of all, we gotta give you a shout out, fam. You're working like you're funding a crack addiction, fam. I don't know what's going on.
I can assure everybody very quickly, I have no such addiction. I promise you, I am fine.
But about Varane, I'm gonna come clean. It's not even that we're gonna it's not even about the names that excites me, to be honest. It's the fact that is this the first window where we've really like made a concerted effort to address all the problem areas early? I feel like it is.
Yeah. I think, do you know what? I think it's a couple of things. I think Myrtle and Fletcher are making an impact in terms of the right kind of people that we're going for. The footballing decisions seem to be, for me, the best that I've seen in a while from the football club. I think on top of that, what is also really, really key is we're identifying and going after people that are attainable. And the Raphael Varane deal is the best bit of work we've done out in terms of process, and process is important. And the process element of transfers is boring, I think, to 95% of football fans. It's why they don't care about what net spend really is. It's why they in the fact that it's fake. It's why they don't care about the actual processes and the good, the bad, or the indifferent ways of doing things. What I'm impressed with is the fact that we're working hard to get Varane, but we haven't dropped our other targets. We haven't sort of done a bit of a Di Maria and gone after a player and ended up sort of like luring him in with huge amounts of money when he doesn't really want to be at the football club. We did it with Alexis Sanchez. We ended up offering him sort of £200,000 a week more than City did, and that turned his head. That kind of practice is, one, it's drawn out, and two, the process will end up with an inflated wage bill, and then a dressing room. Yeah, it's not sustainable, and then a dressing room full of players that don't really want to be at Manchester United. So the way we've gone about Raphael Varane is impeccable.
You know what I think the turning point was? I think the turning point was Dybala. Do you remember that summer that we almost bought Dybala? And he was like sort of umming and ahhing about whether or not he wants to come to United. They had offered him a sweet package and that, and he was weighing on the decision. And they was like, you know what, fam? Who are you, fam? We're United, fam. If you don't want to come, stay home, fam. It's cool. Do your thing. Sit on the bench, whatever it is, it's calm. And then from then on, you can see like the players that we're buying, the players that we're looking at. It's a sort of thing where it's like you have to want to be here, and you have to want to play for the shirt, because if not, fam, we ain't got that sort of time. And I respect that. But on Varane specifically, man, I think I would be just as gassed as getting Sancho as I would be to get Varane, to be honest, because we need them both, and they're both equally, like, they're up there with like the top of the list of players that are in the market, period, to be honest.
Mate, no, I completely agree with you. And this process, though, had begun a while ago. And it begun, if we think back to the Dybala situation, we were talking to Dybala and his people, and Ollie instructed Woodward and co to walk away, because all they really cared about was money, image rights, sponsors. The conversation wasn't about the football, wasn't about the project. If you listen to one thing that's been consistent out of all journalists of any tier that have discussed this, one of the things that is attracting Raphael Varane to Man United, but also away from Real Madrid, is a new footballing challenge. The chance to be part of something different and new. And I think that you also listened to an interview I saw, and I need to go and clarify where it was. I read so much every day, I forget where things are sometimes. One of the reasons that Sancho was so interested in Man United, he wanted a really hard challenge. Yeah. And sometimes you must have heard this 100 times from football fans on socials. Why would player X choose Man United? Why would player Y choose Arsenal? Of course. For some players, some people, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to say, do you know what? I want to go to a Man United and see if I can turn them back into champions. 100%. Maybe they look at it as being an easier thing to walk into a Man City team or a PSG team and walk a title overnight. And I've certainly seen that in my industry. I've seen people join lesser known or less performing banks and private banks, and they're like, I want to go in there and elevate and uplift and take this organization forward, lift them up. If you're huge into tech, what's easier right now? Like going in and helping create the new iPhone, which everyone's going to buy, or would you get more notoriety if you went and joined Nokia and you created a smartphone for Nokia that made them relevant again in the modern day world? For some people, I want to go and work at Apple. They're the best right now. They're the biggest right now. For some, it might be like, I want to go to like Samsung because they're still really, really popular. But they're only just behind Apple probably, but they're really popular. For others, it's not, I fancy Nokia. Or other people, I fancy a startup. I fancy going to a brand new company that nobody's heard of, and I want to make them massive inside the next 5 years. People are motivated by all these things. And I think that we sometimes disrespect footballers when we say, why would you pick Arsenal? Why would you pick Man United?
And more so, I think we disrespect, people, not me. I suppose it will be a time for another show, but Ollie deserves credit for, one, his man management, and two, how, I don't know how he's doing it, but however he's selling the project of, if when you come to United, we might not win something this year, but we're gonna win stuff. Do you remember that press conference? He came out and he said, I'm gonna be a winner here. Some of the people that are here, they're not gonna be winners, but I'm gonna be a winner here. I think that deserves credit. And then also to what you were saying about the money thing, I think taking Woodward out of these conversations, I think that's been another big key, because if you look at it, when Woodward was like the head honcho of the thing, he was talking about, well, we're United, we have the most money, we could do things that other people can't dream of, blah, 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 blah. But when you look at these guys, Fletcher and Murta and that, you don't hear a word of what they're saying. All you're seeing is business getting done. And I think that's respectable.
Mate, I couldn't agree with you more. And it's interesting, really, because Woodward, of course, Woodward and Matt Judge are still involved because they're still got senior positions at Man United. But I've said this all along. Let businessmen make business decisions and let football men make football decisions. And at times, those things cross paths as far as it's concerned. And, you know, I've had to make business decisions in the past, but you have to make a business decision related to, I don't know, a compliance issue. So, of course, I take advice from very respected compliance experts. So I still make the decision, but I'm not actually making it. It's a bit like government, right? A prime minister is a prime minister, a president's a president. But if there's a scientific expert or a financial expert that's giving you the advice, you're still taking their advice. You've got to make the decision. It's on your head, be it if it goes wrong. But of course, you don't expect a prime minister or a president to know about every subject matter and every expertise in the world just because they've been elected. So it's the same thing works in football, but on a smaller scale. Woodward should let football people make football decisions. And this summer, it appears like we're moving in the right direction. Thank you very, very much for coming on, having your say again. Great calls as ever. Drop me a DM on Twitter, please, brother. I'd like to chat to you. Top man. Soon. Update from Jan Urge Fjortov has said here on Varane, just tweeted in the last 4 minutes. He has said, I understand there's no bid on the table from Man United, but Team Varane have told Real Madrid he wants a new challenge. I guess Man United are afraid to be used by any player getting a new contract, so could slow the process a little bit. And that's one of the reasons why I know there's been a report tonight that Man United have put a £55 million bid in. We understand how semantics work in transfers. We see this all the time when it comes to transfers. My thought and belief is we've kind of signaled what we would be willing to pay, but we keep getting the same news again and again. You know, Jan Fjortov. I kind of look at Jan as, I know he's Norwegian. I kind of look at him as Norwegian, but more kind of German-based news, generally speaking, from him. But the news is consistent from tier ones that he wants to join Manchester United. Of course, Jorge Calabrese this evening telling us point blank that he's very close to joining Man United. He is closer to agreeing to us than he is a new deal, and that news remains to be consistent. But remember this, Man United fans, there's no banter if we don't get him, because our club isn't convinced 100% we're going to get him, and we're still working on other deals. That's why I think it is phenomenal piece of work in the way that we are dealing with these things. A few people are telling me to go check out the Muppeteers. The Muppeteers have said regarding Varane, United haven't bid, and there is expected to be another discussion between Varane and Madrid shortly. If nothing changes and continues from this as expected, if nothing changes and continues from this as expected, that would be the point for United to formalize a deal. Fee shouldn't be an issue. And I think that's a very, very well-worded tweet there by the brilliant Muppeteers, because, and it echoes a lot of what's been said elsewhere, and it echoes a lot of what we've said on the Football Terrace. There is this, Man United are just, before they submit an official bid, before they go all in on this deal and almost make it a kind of public affair, they want to know that they are going to get the player. This is the way transfer dealings have done. Chelsea fans, why haven't we bid for anyone yet? You're not going to bid for anyone at all, point blank, until you are convinced that you can get that job done. That's just the way the cookie crumbles now. It's just the way these things go. Delegation Gaming says your betting odds for Euro winner, unbiased. Oh, I don't know about that. If I was to give odds right now, I would say Denmark 10-1, Spain 5-1, England 2-1, Italy odds-on favorites. That's what I would go with if I was giving out odds on current champions, to beat teams to be champions. Ruby Productions here says, Terry, the potential pairing next season of Maguire and Varane, midfield of Pogba and CAMAVINga. Now that is porn to me. That's a great super chat, and I do understand exactly where you're coming from when you say that. I truly, truly do. A few of you have actually copied me into the Muppeteers tweet. Thank you very, very much for doing that indeed. Let's go to a few more of your comments here. A lot of you talk about Roman. I assume you talk about Roman Abramovich. Anyway, let's do some more calls here. Next on the show, I'm going to go to Malcolm next and get Malcolm on the Football Terrace. Welcome to the show. Who do you support and what do you want to say? You're on mute if you're trying to speak, brother.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah. Man United, man. Man United till I die.
Good man, good man. What's on your mind? What do you want to say?
So honestly, from what I've heard about the Varane situation, honestly, I'm not really that gassed. I'm not gonna come in here and say go on my days. I'm excited. You know, it's because like I just feel like with Sancho and all this stuff, this is thing that we should be doing. Like doing the business and getting players in. Like this is exactly what should be doing. This isn't like it's not something that is like really new to me. That like we should be you know building a team to challenge. And so um I just feel like the problem that with our fan base is that we have people in the fan base just that get too gassed with when we're linked with players. So it's kind of like, if you're getting linked with like a Varane or Sancho, like if you got when you got Sancho in, I I can tell like a lot of people are gassed, even though it took us like 2 years to get it over the line. And so it's kind of like if you get like a new toy, if there's like a new like toy, yeah, in town, and everyone is just all gassed about like, oh, and so that's kind of like with our fan base, like everyone's like, oh my god, look, we linked to this guy, we linked to this player, we linked this player. So it's like,
Yeah, I do get that. I mean, it depends. I'm a bit like that. I enjoy the links. I enjoy thinking of the possibilities where they could play. I think transfer windows are all about the hypotheticals. How will it work? Could it fit? Who would he complement? I just really enjoy that element of the transfer window. I'm not too hung up on who we. Of course, I want the best players at Man United. I look at it all as a bit of fun. I look at it all as a bit of a game. I look at it all as a bit of I don't even know what the right word for it is, but I just enjoy the hype. I enjoy the thrill of the chase. In terms of when you sign a player, of course you should be excited. Football fans should be encouraged to be excited when their teams do good business. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But listen, Malcolm, great call. Thanks for coming on and having your say, mate. Very, very, very well articulated points. Next on the show, we're going to go to Thomas Jones next on the terrace. If you want to phone in and have your say, the link is pinned to the live comment section if you want to come on and have your say. But Thomas Jones is with us now. Who do you support, Thomas?
Manchester United.
Lovely. And what do you want to say about this Raphael Varane news this evening?
First thing I want to say, I think it's kind of funny how we might be getting a world-class centre-back for 40 million and Arsenal sending 50 million on Ben White. But I also want to say, if we do get Varane and a good CDM, I don't see no team better than us apart from Man City, because I don't really rate Chelsea. I think they need a better defence. Liverpool, they still got players coming back from injury. Then they take a couple of months. We don't need to worry about Arsenal and Tottenham. So other than Man City, I don't see no one that can beat us.
Interesting. I mean, listen, I think how much faith do you have in Ollie? A lot of people are still saying that there's Ollie tax to take into consideration. Even with a better squad, he isn't going to deliver. What's your stance on Ollie having this hopefully this improved squad that we're aiming towards this summer?
Well, I've got faith in Ollie, but the thing is, yeah, not just Ollie, the coaches as well. Because it just seems like it's like Matto, isn't it? Yeah. We gave him a new contract, but next year he might be becoming a coach, and it just seems like the whole thing is just like the thing for like it just seems like they're all mates in Manchester United. Like they don't want to go out and get a professional coach. They'd rather have players and ex-managers coach instead of getting the professionals in.
Well, I mean, look, most coaches of a decent caliber have played at some level, but I do get where you're coming from with that. Thomas, thank you very much for your call, coming on and having your stay on the terrace. Next up, we're going to go to John. John is a Manchester United fan. Welcome to the terrace. What do you want to say? John pulled away. Very last minute there. Let's do a few more of your comments that are coming through here. Dav says Champions League champions of 2021 convincingly beat every team. Respect. Okay. Shorberto is the best left back in the Premier League. Gunnar King says, wow, steady on Cowboy. To answer your question, Ben White is costing more due to age, English to English club tax, and English player tax. Chelsea don't need a better defense, bro. We had the best defensive record when Tuchel came in. We need a striker, and we are away. Now, I agree completely with that. I think that when you look at the situation with you look at the situation with Chelsea, it's an out and out pure unadulterated, raw striker is what's needed at Chelsea. And a star striker at that, which is why I wouldn't be panicking if I was a Chelsea fan that you haven't done any business yet. I can't understand the panic from Chelsea fans at all. It makes zero sense to me whatsoever. It really doesn't. Dav says, yeah, Chelsea need a striker for sure. Yeah, we can't get away from that one. Hermit here, watching over on Twitch, says, fingers crossed we get Varane and CAMAVINGA, but isn't it funny that United would have officially used the same amount of money, same amount of money Chelsea are implying to be using to get Haaland. Now that would be one hell of a summer window. Yeah, and sometimes you're able to do that. Sometimes you're able to pick up players for lesser amounts, as an example. And if Man United didn't have Cavani, if Cavani hadn't have worked, you may find Man United would be looking at spending huge amounts of money on a striker. And it's just the way the cookie crumbles. And we need those players to work. And if Varane and CAMAVINGA and Sancho are a success, if we don't lose Paul Pogba and we maintain the volume or the majority of this quality group at Manchester United, then we're on to, then we are on to an absolute winner. Just to let you all know, tomorrow morning, live at 9:30, the stream is already set up and ready to go. I'll be, of course, joined again by Dean Jones, one of the leading transfer experts across the UK and Europe. And we will be talking about CAMAVINGA. We'll be talking about Declan Rice. It's an interesting link to a brand new Tottenham player, an Ivorian player that's linked with the move to Tottenham. We've got a big update in relation to that. We will be talking, we already planned this, but we'll be talking Varane. We'll be talking Chelsea. Big overview on Arsenal and an update on Renato Sanchez to Liverpool. So make sure tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. you are ready and you are tuned in. You can go across to that link now. It's already on our homepage. You can set a reminder. You can hit that like button and make sure you check that out. So loads of big updates coming direct from Dean Jones tomorrow morning on the Football Terrace. And make sure you're there. Absolutely. Slens here says, Danny Ings rejects a 4-year deal. I see it written in the stars. Ings signs for Chelsea. But I don't think Ings is a bad signing. I guarantee you this. He'll score more goals than Timo Werner and Tammy Abraham last season put together. And if you don't get Haaland, I still don't think Danny Ings would mind being kind of pushed aside the following season. I think Danny Ings would jump at a chance to be a striker at Chelsea. I think he'd be the best goal scorer at your club overnight. I know you still want Lukaku. I know you still want Haaland. I know you still want Kane. But if you can't attain any of those three, who else would be a good makeshift between now and when you maybe go in for them again next summer? That's a genuine question. Gunnar King says Varane will be a world-class addition to Man United if they get him. The fact he will cost less as in age. Sorry, he will cost less his age. He is close, if not at his potential ceiling, and doesn't have age on his side. But great signing. Yeah, look, I think 40 to 50 million pound for a 28-year-old of his quality is fair. I think you get 5 years out of him. So if let's say he costs 50 million pounds in total, let's round it up to a really high figure. Would you pay 10 million pounds a summer to have a player of Raphael Varane's quality? I would. Every single summer you'd pay that to have someone of his quality. If you get 5 years out of him, absolutely impeccable in my opinion. Impeccable piece of business. Impeccable. Varane will meet with Carlo after his holiday. Yeah, Prince, I agree with that. Something I've said on here a number of times, and I report the news at what's trending. I've said on here, I think this is a deal that's still going to take a little bit of time. I think he's going to have his holiday. I think he'll meet Carlo. I think he's going to wait to listen to what the plans are at Madrid, what their next offer is. They're definitely going to make him another offer. And this is why Manchester United are working on this deal and they're treading carefully. That Man United still believe at their heart, they still believe that it's a difficult deal to get done because Raphael Varane may not want to really leave Real Madrid. And no matter what he said to them, until he stops talking to them, until he says, I'm not even listening to any more offers, and he signs a pre-agreement or he puts in an official transfer request, or makes a real bold public statement that he wants to leave, United will tread carefully. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. Great super chat. Thank you very much indeed. Ings is supposedly holding back for Liverpool. Can you imagine he goes back to Liverpool? Again, it'd be the best number 9 goal scorer they've got. 110% he would. 110%. Next on the show to have his say, right? Terry has a good point about Ings. Of course I do, Prime. You know I do, Prime. 110% Prime. Long time no speak, by the way, Prime. Where you been? Where you been hiding? Where you been hiding out at? Next on the show, Terry, you said Cho was leaving. I swear I didn't say that. I swear I read an article on a story that said Callum Hudson-Odoi could potentially be sold. Callum Hudson-Odoi could potentially be loaned out. That's what I said. Do I believe that Chelsea and Tuchel look at him as a first teamer? Do I believe they look at him as... I'm not convinced. Until I see him played regularly, I won't believe that. That's my take on it. I stand by it. It is what it is. Until I see a player, when I see him playing as regularly as Mason Mount and Reece James, then I won't believe that he's up for sale. Now, you don't need to be transfer listed to be available to be sold. I believe right now, no matter how much money, a reasonable money, a club offered for Reece James or Mason Mount, Chelsea would say no. I kind of feel if the right offer came in for Callum Hudson-Odoi, I still think they'd say yes, regardless of what any journalist says, because the journalist is only telling you what the club's telling him. And I don't necessarily believe that. Until I see Callum Hudson-Odoi play regular, week in, week out, in his preferred positions, then I believe that he is a stalwart. Then I believe he's someone that Chelsea want to have an integral part of their team. Until that point, I'm always going to believe that a club, if they offer the right money for him, could buy him. And I'd have that same opinion about any player in any squad, in any team. It's not a Hudson-Odoi agenda. It's a footballing belief. If next season Anthony Martial's barely playing, I'm going to believe we'd sell him. In fact, I believe we'd sell him now for the right money for almost the same reason. Different scenario that's lit there. A lot of people saying Fabrizio is staying. He's saying, yeah, and Fabrizio has been told that, and that's fine. Fabrizio can say that all he wants. That isn't Fabrizio having an opinion doesn't change my opinion. I've got my own brain and I have my own opinion. I believe if a club offered the right amount of money for Callum Hudson-Odoi, Chelsea would consider doing it. And maybe they wouldn't consider doing it this summer, but I believe it's in the back of their mind. Until I see, let me reiterate this again for everyone in the back. Until I see Callum Hudson-Odoi playing as regularly in this Chelsea team as Mason Mount, I'm not going to believe that Chelsea would never sell him. It's as simple as that for me. And I respect Fabrizio Romano and the work that he does. But I don't believe that at some point he won't be sold. And maybe they won't do it this summer. Maybe it's next year. What's the difference? 12 months. Come on now. Have your own brains and have your own opinions. Please. Or says here, I love the haters. United love you too. I hear you on that one, or I hear you on that one. Hudson-Odoi should have gone to Munich when he had the chance. Listen, I still think Hudson-Odoi wants to make it at Chelsea. And I think Hudson-Odoi is going to work so hard this summer to try and get into the first team. And if he makes it into the first team and starts playing regularly, let's have a little look at Hudson-Odoi here. Now, I know there's been injuries that have played their part in the last couple of years, but let's look at this now. Have a little look at this now. Some people have got, honestly, think for yourself sometimes, people. Let's have a little look here at the...
I disagree on this. He's always...
All right, let me get these stats up here. I don't want these stats as in goals and stuff. I just want to see minutes-wise, right? So, 2 seasons ago, he played 1,600 minutes, but we know he came back from injury that season, yeah? Last year, he must have got more than that because he didn't have the same problems. See, he only had 1,800 minutes. So, Callum Hudson-Odoi this season, just gone, only played 300 minutes more than Dan James at Manchester United. So, as I've said before, I don't see him as a massively integral part of Chelsea's team. And when you're not a massively integral part of a club's team, you're available in the market for the right price. Now, Chelsea might turn around and say, we don't want to sell him this year. I think Chelsea want to see whether they can get the best out of him. Chelsea don't want another KDB. Chelsea don't want another Mo Salah. They don't want another Lukaku situation. But if he doesn't play more than 2,500 minutes next year, Hudson-Odoi is going to get to a point, because by then, what's he going to be? By then, he's going to be he'll be 21 by that time, going into his 22nd year. He's going to want to play regular. He's available, you know? And I think, honestly, if a big club came in from now with the right kind of offer, it'd be seriously entertained by Chelsea. That's just my opinion. And I don't care what any journalist says. That's my view in terms of reading the situation. And so far, that 3 managers have never really given him the opportunity that people like me believe that he deserves. I believe he deserves more. No doubt about it whatsoever. Let's go through. I've got Michael who's coming on the show next to have his say. Welcome back to the terrace, Michael. What do you want to say, mate?
How you doing, Tel?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Sorry, mate. I was in between doing something quickly. What I wanted to say is mostly, look, the things that we forget about this Sancho deal, we need to remember about this Sancho deal. We need to remember that this guy, Ed Woodward, he is a banking guy. You know, similar to you and me, I'm from a very strong banking background. But I call it a legal heist. So this whole acquisition of Manchester United for the Glazers, the leverage buyout deal, it's criminal almost. The whole thing that he's done. So it's a legal heist. They went through and done all this banking business. But similar to how he runs this club and how I see it, is that Sancho really should have been bought last year. But the reason why Sancho wasn't bought last year is because mostly, I reckon, it's because of the exchange rate at that time. The euro to the GBP was very, very close. If you look at it now, it's probably the highest it's been in a long while, the gap between euro and GBP. So we're getting in for at least 20 million. So if you think about 100 million or 120 million it was last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 120 million. That 120 million this year, 120 million in pounds would have been 50 million or something like that in euros. You're talking about?
Yeah.
Anyway, he would have made about 20 million. He would have saved 20 million just on the exchange rate alone, is what I'm saying. So it wouldn't have happened last year because of the exchange rate, mostly. Me personally, I think. And he's from a strong banking background, and as we know, companies nowadays, like I don't know, import, export, they definitely looking at the euro exchange rate at this time. I'm not trying to advertise or sell myself, but I'm by the way, I'm Ollie out just because of negative football. But I would give him a chance if we get those signings into
I think this year. Yeah, and I get that, and everyone knows my stance on Ollie. I don't think he's good enough, but with these players, it's like, okay. I think one thing that stands out to me if we bring these players in, is very much, well, what have they seen? What have they seen that's made them want to come and play for Ollie? So maybe I'm personally missing something, and let's give them an opportunity.
No, they've been sold something. I think they've been sold like Pogba was sold down the garden path almost, but it's getting to the point where they are now trying to do a bite, and I reckon most of it is because of the Glazer out movement, and they're now starting to I don't know, try and shape a team into a title challenging team, because that's what we want. We want to see, you know, the good old 99 days where, do you know what, I don't even want a cup, I just want a challenge. I want to always challenge. That's what it is. If Man City pip us, if Arsenal pip us, if they ever, then I don't mind. But
yeah, I hear you on that. I think this notion of we have to win the league or a manager gets sacked, I don't believe in that as an overall statement. I think context is very important, because if City do a 100-point season again next year, but we finish second on 99 points, why would you want to sack the manager who's done that? And I'll give it a very warped example, but it's that case of not winning the league isn't always the issue. It's, well, how well did we do? What was the improvement? And something that we had Alfie say on the show many times, as long as the trajectory is going up, or if we're at the very peak of our powers, has remained stable, he wouldn't want to see a managerial change. And I do understand that notion, and I do understand that train of thought, because I think it makes a lot of sense. But how confident are you that Man United will sign Raphael Varane?
This year has been going well. How many signings we got this year? 2.
Well,
Heaton.
if you include Tom Heaton, it's 2. Yeah.
Honestly, my heart tells me they finish, and this is all paper talk. And to be honest, he probably won't come. Honestly, that's what I believe. I wish he would.
Yeah.
But I'm being a pessimist, and how I know, leopards never change their spots. And there's a lot of talk, and they're getting loads of clicks, and they're getting loads of tweets, and this, that, and the other, and that matters to them. They're not fans; they just want engagement, and they're running the business how they want to as a bank.
They're definitely getting engagement. Listen, Michael, great call, mate. Thanks for coming on and having your say. I really appreciate it, bro. We'll speak to you again soon. No worries, top man. Thank you. Thank you. Top man. Next on the show, Gunnar King is here with us. Gunnar, welcome back to the terrace, mate. What do you want to say?
What's going on? Yeah, no, I thought I would jump on rather than kind of go through the comment section. Look, I understand I'm a realistic Arsenal fan of where we are as a club. Obviously, your previous caller was saying, why you're paying 40 million for Varane and we're paying 50 million for Ben White. Now, first of all, Varane is going to be a quality signing for United. He is coming with pedigree, experience. At 28, he's achieved things in the game that many other defenders haven't. And I think watching Maguire at the Euros really has shown what the difference is between having a partner next to you that perhaps doesn't bring out the best in you and someone that does. Varane's profile is very similar to Stones, but obviously another notch in terms of he can progress the ball as well. He has solid defensive attributes, but also, can ball carry or pass the ball out of defense as well. And Maguire's defensive record is no fluke in the Euros. So I've said about United, in terms of from being on the outside looking in, Sancho was a great deal, but I've really felt, because it's the same with Pogba. You look at his performances in the Euros as well, in spite of France being knocked out. Most man of the match awards of any France player, probably their most influential player, in spite of them going out. I really felt that the central defense and midfield areas were probably more important than the Sancho area. So yeah, Varane will be a great signing, but yeah, the context of an English to English transfer, a player costing more because they're coming from an English club, costing even more because they're an English player themselves, and being 23 and having, I'm not going to say potentially speaking, he could be better than Varane, but at 23, we don't know that. So that's what you're buying into as well, that potential bit.
Yeah, mate, listen, I completely agree with you. I think anyone that's got, you're spending 50 on Ben White and we might be getting Varane for this. It's, I've said, I know you watch the channel for a long time. It's people that are either deliberately being stupid, or they just don't understand how football finance works. And these are the same people that can't understand why a player like Paul Pogba or any player at Man United, whether they're better or not than a player at Man City, why they get paid more. Because the commercial impact is so much bigger at Manchester United, because the size of the club is bigger. And of course, if you work, generally speaking, if you work for a company where you help to generate more income for them because of their size, you get paid more. It's if you're the CEO of Apple, you're going to get paid more than the CEO of a brand new startup. It's the same difference. And I think that until people start to, I really want more from the big major media outlets to start talking more when it comes to transfers. On Sky, I don't really want to see fans on there giving opinion. I don't even really want to see football players giving their opinion. I want to see more agents and football financial experts breaking it down and making us understand, one, that net spend isn't real, two, how and why transfer negotiations happen the way they do, why they can be long and drawn out, why it takes so long to get the contracts done, all the problems and the pitfalls that managers can face, the kind of way the salaries are broken up, how actually your club might only spend £50 million on new players one summer, but that's because their wage bill is going to jump up by 60, 70, 80 million pound because of all the contract renewals they're doing. As an example, how exchange rates one summer can add debt or take debt away. I want to see more education given to football fans when it comes to transfers and the money, as opposed to just let fan channels like us have fans come on and give opinion. Let the radio stations, like they've always done, give fan opinion. But I want to see, when I turn into Sky Sports, I'm just like, do you know what? I get the same thing from Sky Sports now that I get from YouTube. So what's the point of Sky Sports? I want to be educated on how and what and why things happen. And that's probably what infuriates me sometimes. And I become a bit bored of certain football banter where I hear people go, you're paying in installments. It's like, bruv, you do realize it's been happening
every transfer
for 15, 20 years. It's just the way it's done. What are you laughing at? Nah, it's not. Who told you that? Oh, some journalist said it was embarrassing. But that's because that journalist is either an idiot or he's lying to you. I just want to see so much. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like I've got no problem with seeing a fan give an opinion, but it's like, for me, it's like busman's holiday. I sit here and do it all day. I want to sit down and watch the transfer show on Sky and have the best financial experts, agents on there, ex-club owners explaining how, and you still, even now, right, you'll have no one really explains to you what actually goes on. And I sometimes sit there and think, why? Because if everyone knew how it worked, Chelsea fans right now wouldn't be kicking off. If the transfer wasn't weak, the transfer talks where Chelsea could win the Prem with Haaland. Well, let's go get him then. They're not educating Chelsea fans on the problems they may face by investing £500 million in one player, what the knock-on effects may have within those squads. What if financial fair play is only relaxed for a year or two, and then they go back to their restraints? But because their wage bill is inflated so much because of the knock-on effect from Haaland, that leaves them in a situation where they've got a surplus every year and leads them in financial difficulties. Now, that needs to be investigated. That kind of accounting and taking into there's so much work goes into that. You can't just decide to do it in a week. It isn't Football Manager where you get told exactly how much you can and can't afford to spend, and you don't need to do any maths behind it. There is actually a group of human beings working out not just is it affordable, but the long-term ramifications. How much more money you have to pay everybody else on their contract renewals? Okay, well, how does that affect us year on year? Great. Well, right now that could be offset by more personal investment because FFP's been relaxed. What if FFP comes back into full play? And we're in shit. Like, that education needs to happen for football fans. And fuck all, like, fan channels are here for fan opinion. You know, we've got AFTV, we've got the United Stand, Redmen, Coppish, Neek Sports. You've got the United View that's now at so many. They can give fan opinion. It fucking annoys me when I turn on the professionals and they're just copying what fan channels do. And I'm like, I already saw that opinion yesterday when I watched his live stream. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, like, I saw Slens made a comment on someone's thread the other day. He said, "Mans really think that they turn up with the duffel bags with the money in. Like, that's not how transfers work. You know what I mean? Like,
that's brilliant. Do you know what?
All transfers are structured. That is a fact.
Do you know what it comes down to, right? It's like, do you know what? Have fans on there 100%. Listen, because honestly, Flex talks more sense on Sky Sports, in my opinion, than 90% of the professional ex-footballers they have on there. So have him on. But it's in conjunction with like Flex. What are the fans' feelings? What are the fans feeling? What's your opinion? Should you have him? Right now we have Joe Blogs, who is I don't know. He used to work for Man United, and he used to put the structures together for buying players. What's going on right now? Why is this taking so long? What do fans need to think about? What would be the first steps at this stage? We've now got Joe Blogs, who's an ex-agent or is a current agent. What's going on in your player's mind right now? Are we hearing rumors that Raphael Varane might be using the clubs to? Does that happen? What's your experience in this? And then you go back into the fan. Then you go back into Flex. You say, Flex, what do you make of that? Like, it's all. Do you get what I mean? I'm not saying don't have. Maybe I am saying no. Don't have fans on, but educate us. Otherwise, it's just some of the shit I see spoken. I sit there and think to myself, and not by the fans on there. It's more the reaction to it. It's like, but you haven't educated us. People still think net spend is fucking real. People still think net spend is real.
And I think, like I play a lot of Football Manager. I don't play FIFA, you know, and a lot of people think that's how transfers work. You get your budget. It's not like that. It's a cumulative spend budget that you can spend on your wages, your transfers, everything basically, you know, like conceivable. And that becomes a moving kind of thing based on player outings and incomings. You know, like, it's not like a fixed, It's not like in Football Manager or FIFA where it's like, there's your 200 million, go spend it. You know, like it's the whole cumulative spend of a transfer that they're looking at. You know, the wage, cost.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's based on. So, for instance, I'm not even going to name the clubs because it triggers the fans. But people always show their net spend, and I'm like, yo, why are you not factoring in the fact that your wage bill is now nearly £200 million more expensive than it was 3 years ago? Because player spend comes out of the turnover of a football club. And at the end of the day, there's limited turnover for every single football club. Fact. Some of that turnover can be donated each year by the owners of the football club. There's no doubt about it. But it just infuriates. What infuriates me is we end up having sort of banal, boring, like key stage ones conversations all the time when it comes to transfers, because nobody's educating us. I mean, the fact that we still think net spend exists in football, it's an embarrassment. It's like still believing in Santa Claus when you're past the age of about fucking 12. It's ridiculous. Like, if you have a 12-year-old kid that's like, I believe in Santa, like, the fuck? What? Do you know what I mean? Like, are they still sucking on the mum tit? Like, people that believe in net spend, are you still sucking your mum's tit for milk? Like, how fucking young are you? Like, get over it. It ain't real. Don't fucking exist. Not in the arbitrary basic sense that people put it out in anyway. And it just annoys me, bruv. It just annoys me because we end up getting into like nonchalant, stupid conversations about transfers. Like, oh, you're paying 50 million for Ben White, and it's like, it's so boring. It's dead banter. Grow up. If, for instance, Ben White and Varane were in the same position, same age, same contract length, and we were doing it, then the banter is real. But anyway, listen, great call as ever, Gunner King, and I'll speak to you soon. Top man, thank you. Someone says, Terry getting angry. I am angry about it. Do you know why I'm angry about it? It's because I don't like people condescending. I feel like they talk to us like that because they believe we're working class people that generally watch and like football, and they wouldn't understand it, so there's no point telling them. Fuck that, bruv. Explain it to me. Explain it to me. You might need to explain it to me a little bit more layman terms if I'm not from do you know what I mean? I worked in finance for 15 years, and I moved every now and then. I moved into new areas, and the first 6 months, you're like, what the fuck's going on in here? It was like a new language. But still, explain it to us, net spend. Honestly, Twitter, anyone who uses net spend to boast, ban them. It ain't real. I thought Twitter was meant to, like, you know that thing where they say, like, is this information true? Like, fact check you. Like they used to do to Trump. Anyone who mentions net spend should get fact fucking checked by Twitter. Pieces of shit. KJ's on the show next. How you doing, bro?
You're good, bro.
I'm all right. I'm just get annoyed.
Yo, man, you're funny, man. You're funny. Yeah. You know when United's transfer dealings are looking too good to be true? Way too good to be true. Part of me is getting worried now. I'm like, wait, where's the caveat here? Like, something's gonna go in a certain way, but it's a lot. I've seen a lot of people today. I want to say whining, but very much in the line of, don't get sucked in. It's all a ploy. It still glazes out, and yes, it still glazes out. But yeah, there's still this kind of weariness around some United fans about the whole thing, and I don't know. It's one of those ones where I'm in a place where I'm like, I trust what Murtaugh's trying to do, from what I've heard, but do I trust the people above him? That's a different conversation altogether. But it is really strange seeing Man United operate like this, especially after the last 5-8 years. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, it does feel a little bit. Like my dad, when I grew up as a kid, was often in a bad mood. It just was. So when I come home and he'd be in a good mood, I'd be like, this is fucking weird. Why is he happy for? Like, do you know what I mean? I didn't realize at the time. And my dad used to work nights. So daytimes we'd grumpy in it. Like, he used to work all night. My dad used to get in at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and then we'd be waking up at 7:30 to take us to school. So he's just tired, right? But as a little kid, you're sort of like, what my dad always upset for? You weren't going to bed at 10 o'clock like other dads. But yeah, no, listen, I'm a bit the same. So whenever he was in a good mood, it was weird, right? But yeah, no, I'm with you. I keep feeling like something's going to go wrong. And what's really actually disconcerting, and I don't even know why. We're also not going all in with the Varane thing. We're holding back. We're working on other deals because we know that he could still decide to stay. And the fact that we're aware that we're doing our due diligence, that we're not being stupid, that's the bit for me that I'm almost most impressed with, if you get what I mean, because it's like we've learned from those mistakes in the past, and that's what I'm most weirded out by. It's like, oh wow, due diligence at play. Like diligent people I like diligent people. I like a plan. I like a contingency. I like us to offset. And I'm thinking this is how running a club is meant to be done. Will we get every decision right now? And of course, there are the negative Nellies who are waiting for one or two things. If we don't get Varane, you know the people I'm talking about. Straight out there, they're going to go mental. I'm going to let them crack on. Do you know what I mean? I'm just going to look at them and laugh because they're stupid. But yeah, it is looking quite positive right now. No bid, according to Jan Fjortov and a few others, but it's interesting. I still, by the way, only give this deal 50-50 chance of going through.
Yeah, like we've seen it many times before. Though, like, yeah, we're close to Ramos. Things are looking good. And then, you know, Comunicado Oficial, Ramos signs a new deal. So it could be the same with Varane, but it's a weird one because there's so many reports saying that he's ready for a new challenge. Like so many of them. It's not like one random report says he's ready for a new challenge. Everyone else is saying, oh yeah, he's looking at staying. All they say is he's ready for a new challenge. And right now, he doesn't want to renew a contract, but he's waiting to see what Ancelotti says. So it's a weird position to be in because most people, half the time it's like he's using us for a contract. And the other half is saying he's definitely coming. And meanwhile, you've got this going on with Camavinga, who's in a similar position of he wants to leave Rennes, but he wants to join PSG. If PSG don't put in an offer, he'll join United. So there's a lot of things I feel like is not in United's hands right now. And as a fan base, we just need to be patient and just to wait and see. And if, say Varane does sign a new contract, don't get mad at United for trying to make it happen, even though he turned his idea. You know what I mean? Like, yes, obviously, it's putting the Glazers every day of the week and that. Like, that's not going to stop. But in terms of the transfer committee and the crew, and like Murtaugh and Fletcher, don't have a go at them because last minute Varane's like, actually, let me just stay in Madrid. Or last minute PSG put offer in and he matches United's and Camavinga says, actually, I want to stay in France and go PSG.
Well, one thing I would say is this point of view, if you listen to our guy Dean, they're the two things he said for a long time now. He's been told that Camavinga, you know, as of last week, it might update in the morning, but there's like a lot of people in France still think he'll be in France next year. The Raphael Varane thing, he said all along, Man United are not convinced that he 100% wants to join. And one thing that, again, has annoyed me is people, I've noticed it with all transfer news recently, people ignore anything they don't want to hear. So they hear a number of sentences and it'll be United are working hard to get the deal done. The player right now has expressed an interest. Man United have offered him a contract and he'd be happy to sign it. But also at the same time, Man United is still not convinced that he 100% wants to join us more than remain at Real Madrid. They'll ignore that last bit and believe all the bits before it because that's convenient. That makes them excited. And that's where football fans need to wise up a little bit and just realize that there is still a chance that he stays at Real Madrid. And this has always been the case. But Man United are also aware of this. And that's why they're still looking at other centre-backs. And it is what it is. At the end of the day, if Raphael Varane doesn't want to leave Real Madrid, there's almost nothing that Manchester United can do to get it done. At the same time, it isn't like all the other major clubs are after him as well. You know, Man United are making a really good concerted effort, and who knows what will happen. The Camavinga deal, as we said, is again, it's a difficult one, but let's see what can be done there. You know, it is what it is, and we've got a lot of time this summer left to get it done. I still think the Euros being on and players being on holidays is a problem because people are away. The Euros always delays things in that way, if you get where I'm coming from, because people go on holiday a little bit later. People want to, you know, there's an element of Raphael Varane right now where he's probably just thinking, I'm not too sure if he's got kids or a wife, but I'm assuming he's got a wife. You know, he's probably away with his wife and his kids or his family, and he just wants to have a little bit of a good time and let his hair down. He's had a long season like everybody else, and he's going to have another long season next year. So let's just remain a little bit patient instead of, oh, when are we going to find out exactly what's happening? But we will in due course. We will in due course. Listen, KJ, thank you for coming on. I know there's still more of you backstage, but we are out of time tonight. I'm very, very sorry indeed. Do me a favor and make sure you subscribe to the Football Terrace. Right now, get over to the Done Deal Show. The stream is already set up live, ready to go tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Make sure you tune into that. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless, and we'll see you.